Hey everybody, welcome back to another remastered episode of Movies You Missed podcast. We are in the middle of July, only a couple more of these to go before we're back at it with brand new episodes. Thank you all so much for joining us today. John, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Great. And as always, before our remastered episodes, we really like to talk about not only what we've seen this week, new in theaters or on streaming, but also why we picked this one.
Yeah.
So let's dive right in. John, what new movies did you see?
Ooh, I'm glad I'm going first. I saw 3 new movies this week, and I'm going to start with the one that surprised me the most. I ended up going to this movie, and I told you, Vee, I wasn't going to go. And I told a lot of people I wasn't going to go because I don't like these movies, and I have not liked any of them in recent years. And I think a lot of people know what I'm talking about. But I went to this movie because... I'm actually kind of surprised at this. What just came out that I would pretty much refuse to see?
Superman?
I saw this movie because there's an actress in it that I really, really like.
Oh my God.
And her name is Rachel Brosnahan, and she played Lois Lane, and I saw Superman. I saw Superman, and I enjoyed it quite a bit, actually.
Really?
I did, yeah. I don't know the Superman lore. I know of Krypton and Kryptonite and Lex Luthor, and that is it. I am not a Superman fan. I literally know nothing. So I went into this pretty blind, other than having seen Man of Steel and Superman Returns. I almost said Batman Returns. Superman Returns from years ago, and I liked it. I didn't hate it. I saw it in 4DX. It was a lot of fun.
I hated it.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
I was so excited for this movie. I loved the trailer. I still think the trailer is one of the best of the year, actually. And then I went and told you that I was going to go see it. You said, "I'm sorry," in a text message.
Yeah, I know. I
were so
remember that.
uninterested. And I was. I love comics. I love comic books. Superman certainly isn't my favorite superhero because, in general, I always think he's kind of boring because he's infallible. He doesn't ever make any mistakes, really. Nothing can hurt him, and it's kind of boring, right? That's why I love Batman. But I still always have loved the stories and loved the Christopher Reeves movies, so I was really excited for this film, and I just thought tonally it was all over the place.
Oh, it certainly was. I'll give you that. And again, I went into it so no expectations, just like, fuck it. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to surprise Vee and see Superman. And maybe it was the 4DX.
Surprised you right back.
Yeah, you definitely did. But it could have been the 4DX experience. I will say, though, that the most ridiculous thing that I saw in the entire movie was fucking Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, that was a horrible... There were
so stupid.
Several bad miscasts in this movie. First, his parents. Actually, both sets of parents. His birth parents and his adoptive parents, I think, were completely miscast in a lot of ways. His parents in Kansas seemed like stupid yokels, and that's not how Superman's parents are at all. And that really bothered me, the way they wrote those characters. I thought he was cast brilliantly. He did a fantastic... He was the best part of the movie. He did a great job as Superman and Clark Kent.
I was going to say, what's his name? Like Cornswelt or something like that?
Yeah, David Cornswet.
Yes,
and
yes.
he was that dickhead in Twisters. He's the one that we thought was going to be Jonah's son.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought both he and Lois Lane did a really good job, and even...
Oh yeah, Brosnahan was great.
Even Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, I thought he did a great job too. But the script was just all over the place. The funny parts weren't funny. I thought they were really cheesy and really stupid. I laughed a couple times, but then the other parts of the movie, especially when Superman's in it, are supposed to be really serious and earnest, and we're supposed to feel all this emotion when he goes and saves these people, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's that country problem. But because there were so many different plot lines in this movie, I was like, God, I don't really care about any of them because it's too much. And so, I had a really big problem with the movie. I was really disappointed.
Wow.
I think it's hilarious that you liked it.
I think it is, too. I also liked Skylar Gisondo. We talked about him in Booksmart. Mm-hmm. And I thought Beck Bennett was pretty good for a few moments that he was on screen. You know, it's kind of funny, too. Like with Captain America, Brave New World, I couldn't care less, so I had a good time. And I thought Crypto, the dog, was pretty cool, too.
He was cool. I liked him a little bit too.
Yeah.
But overall, I did not like that movie at all. I thought it was really stupid. And
all right.
But it makes sense because you really liked James Gunn movies. You've liked all 3 Guardians of the Galaxy. I only liked the first one, so it makes sense that you liked this movie and I didn't.
I guess that's also true, yeah.
That's hilarious, though.
It is. That's a complete opposite of what I thought was going to happen, similar to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning.
Me too.
Or Final Reckoning. Well, either one.
Either one.
Well, all right, let's move right along then. I saw 2 other films. I went and saw the new Disney Pixar animated film Elio.
I haven't heard anything about this movie.
Not a lot of people did. It's completely flown under the radar. The marketing was not very good for it at all, similar to how Elemental kind of suffered from that. I liked this movie. It's not my next Elemental, but it's very good. It's very sweet. The music is amazing, and the animation is, of course, top-notch. So if you have kids or if you like space movies, then check this out. I had a lot of good times with it.
Awesome.
And then finally, I went and saw the new film with Brad Pitt and Javier Bardem, F1.
This is my favorite movie of the year. Be gentle.
Yeah, I'm going to have to be real fucking gentle. It just kicked so much ass that I don't know how to really explain how badass it was. But it was a badass fucking movie. Yeah. It was a fuck yeah film for sure. I had a really damn good time. I missed the opportunity to see it in IMAX, but I had a really good theater. The sound was great. I sat close enough to feel like I was in the driver's seat. And I had a great time with it. I will definitely see it again. It'll probably be streaming on Apple in the next couple of weeks.
I definitely want to see it in IMAX again if I can. How amazing was that cinematography?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, it's a beautiful movie. Absolutely. I'm actually glad to have seen the movie in theaters because I think I only saw one trailer for it 2 or 3 different times, and I did not see different trailers. So I didn't know about a lot that was coming. So it was great.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Yes.
Love that movie. Can't wait to go back. And the last movie that I saw was...
Oh, yeah.
I actually fulfilled our deal last week.
I did not.
No,
damn it.
I
completely forgot.
I figured. That's all right. You watched other movies instead. I went ahead and watched Deep Cover, like we talked about last week, an Amazon Prime streaming movie.
Yes.
Bryce Dallas Howard and Orlando Bloom. I did not like it. I wanted to shut it off over the last 40 minutes multiple times. I had a bad week at the movies this week, actually.
Yeah, you really did.
I thought there were some really funny parts. I legitimately laughed out loud at a couple of parts, but other parts were just really stupid, and the movie's ridiculous. It felt very much like a streaming film in terms of quality of the script.
Yeah.
The 3 of them did a pretty good job, but overall I was just like, I don't care, and it's not something I would recommend anyone because it's dumb.
I totally...
the humor, it just was really cringy and over the top and didn't make me laugh through a lot of the film. There were only a couple parts that I laughed at. The rest of the movie, I was just waiting for it to be over.
Well, all right then.
So I'm really excited to go back into the theater and watch F1 so I can be happy again.
Yeah, get redeemed.
Exactly.
Yeah, damn. That's too bad. I'm sorry to hear all of that. That's quite a shame.
Well, I'm really happy to hear your report, though, so it's all right.
Yeah, I had a good time at the movies. I will definitely have to watch Heads of State before our next hoorah.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
I will. I've got the next day off, and I will at least, get through that one.
All right. Well, those are the movies we saw in theaters or on streaming this week. Please check some of those out, and let us know what you guys think about Superman, since we are in big disagreement over that one.
Yes, I am curious.
And now we are diving into one of our remastered episodes. This is from our last week in October in our first year of this podcast. It's episode 28. It's called Aliens vs. Zombies. This is when we picked Alien and 28 Days Later.
Hell yeah.
I picked this episode for a couple reasons. First of all, because I love both these movies. But more importantly, not only do we miss a couple episodes of our horror month last year, but also I wanted to pick this as a little bit of a redemption episode for John because he did just watch 28 Years Later and was devastated by it. And so I wanted to remind him of the original, the movie that is his favorite horror movie of all time, 28 Days Later. So those are the reasons why I chose this episode this week.
Well, all right. I'm completely on board with all of that.
Okay, good. Well, everyone go ahead and buckle in and not only listen to this episode, episode 28, but also we have a later episode where I cover Aliens as well. So
yes,
you get both of the good movies from that series on our podcast. All right, everyone, enjoy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Movies You Missed. This is episode 28, the final episode of the month of October. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed. However, that doesn't mean horror movies have to stop being viewed. So, if you are a horror fan like myself, do continue to watch horror movies all throughout the holiday, because there are some scary horror holiday movies out there. I'm John.
And I'm Vee.
How you doing today, Vee?
I'm good, and unlike you, instead of continuing to watch horror movies, I watched Blazing Saddles yesterday.
Oh, wonderful. You did mention that you were going to do that as a palate cleanser, and how was that? Did it cleanse your palate?
It absolutely did. It reminded me how much I love Gene Wilder and Madeline Kahn. That movie is still a classic.
Absolutely. Blazing Saddles is a very entertaining film. I have not seen Blazing Saddles since I think I was 15, so it's been over a decade plus for me. It's been quite a while.
Oh my gosh, the jokes that you will get now that you didn't get at 15 are...
Good point.
You absolutely need to watch that film sooner rather than later, because yes, you'll find it 10 times funnier now that you're in your 30s.
Sounds good. I do need to give it a shot. I've been told that several times. A lot of people are like, you haven't seen that since you were how old? I'm like, yeah, it's just not one of those movies I've gravitated back to. I do respect it. I do enjoy it. I just haven't gotten back to it, so now I likely will. I think it's on Netflix right now, isn't it?
It's streaming on Hulu right now, actually.
Oh, it's on Hulu. Oh, fantastic. Well, then that's even better, because I truly do not like spending a lot of my time on Netflix streaming, because I just... No, thank you.
Yeah, you actually have referenced a couple times that you are not a fan of Netflix, and one of these days we need to have a conversation, because I'm very, very curious about what led you to dislike Netflix so strongly.
It's a very brief conversation.
Oh, okay.
Nothing that I've watched from them has been good, except for Mindhunter and maybe one or two movies. And I really have not been that impressed, and that's just my personal opinion.
Okay, now I get it. I thought that you didn't like Netflix as a streaming service. You don't like it as a production company.
That's exactly what it is. I don't like them as a production company.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. But we are still in the horror genre, because it is still the month of October. And
yes, it is.
I am very excited to talk about the movie I picked. I believe I go first this week.
You absolutely do.
Fabulous. I know we both love this movie.
Oh, I have been a fan of this movie since I was 12 when I first saw it.
You know what's funny? I think I saw the sequel first.
Oh, really? I think a lot of people actually had seen the sequel before seeing the original.
Yeah, and I think it's because the sequel is more of an action movie and less of a horror movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I am talking about the original, which is the trailblazer, the standard by which we grade the sci-fi horror genre. The 1979 classic Alien.
Oh, yeah.
This movie is so great.
So
directed by Ridley Scott, starring Sigourney Weaver and a host of other fantastic actors who you will certainly recognize.
That is very true. This, V, was the fourth time that I've watched Alien in my life.
Do you know what? I think it's only like the sixth that
wow.
I've seen it. Yes.
Isn't that crazy? It's one of those movies that when I was 12 and saw this, my father sat me down. He's like, we're going to watch a movie today. I'm like, awesome. What are we going to watch? I'm going to show you a movie called Alien. And I was like, hell yeah. I love aliens. I love Independence Day and Mars Attacks and all this stuff. And he's like, no. This is going to be a completely different Alien movie for you. And I'm like, okay. I remember like 25 minutes in, I adjusted on the couch, and my dad paused the movie, goes, are you bored? I'm like, no. He goes, oh, okay, good. And then we continued on. Because, there's a lot of that slow movement in the first like half hour of the movie.
I always love hearing these stories because your parents are so G-rated now. These stories about your dad introducing like Goodfellas, Alien to you when you were a preteen blows my goddamn mind.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. I remember after seeing Alien with my dad, about a week later, I went to Hollywood Video and I rented it on VHS, and I sat in my room and I watched it, I think twice. So this actually might be the fifth time I've seen it. And it's one of those movies that I think I mentioned in our last episode. It's one of those movies that every time I went to Amoeba or Best Buy, it was there, but I never bought it. And I do not own this movie to this day, but the 4K is out and Christmas is coming.
This will be amazing in 4K. The visuals on this movie hold up so well. I kept making notes of that throughout the movie. I could not believe the practical effects and how well everything looked.
Mm-hmm.
It was so realistic.
It really is, yeah. Especially the first 20 minutes, that as they're waking up and the tracking shots through the hallways of the Nostromo, and it's just like, what a fucking elaborate set to just like get up and go to every day. I can only imagine what that was like. It was like when I worked on Star Trek Picard. I got to go on to the new Enterprise every fucking day and be on that bridge and be like, shit. Hell yeah.
Right?
This is so awesome. So I can only imagine what like Ridley Scott and all of them were thinking, because they really embodied everything that they needed to for this movie.
They really did. And except for the times where their, computers are up and running and it's a close-up of the computer screen, this movie looks like it could have been made within the last couple years.
Oh, hell yeah. Definitely.
Right? I mean,
that's one thing I do remember as a child is the computers, yeah.
Yeah, other than the computers now looking out of date, all of the visuals, all the set design, everything, it is absolutely transferable to the 21st century.
It really is, yeah. For 79, like you said, when we watched Frankenstein and Creature of the Black Lagoon, we watched it with the time in mind. And watching this one like half an hour in, I'm thinking like, this could have been done 5 fucking years ago.
Exactly.
And still, like you said, be as convincing as it was and still is. I mean, this movie's over 30 years old.
Oh, yeah. It's over 40 years old.
That's right, yeah, shit.
And even the trailer of this movie is scary.
Yes, it is.
I watched the trailer before watching the movie this week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I know you actually do that every now and then, don't you? You watch the trailer before?
Yeah, I do. And I hadn't seen this trailer in a while, and I watched it. I was like, fuck, that scared me. Like, that definitely sets up this movie. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've seen Aliens so many more times than I've seen Alien. This movie I've seen, like I said, less than 10 times. I am sure I've seen Aliens over 20 times.
I've seen Aliens once.
What?
And only in the last 5 years. I bought Aliens on VHS at Amoeba for $1. Fucking killer movie.
It is. And
oh, man.
Could be on my list for our future Director's Cut episodes, because the director's cut of Aliens, though not much longer, does fill in a couple of plot questions.
Oh, okay. All right.
Which,
that's
funny
a good
enough,
idea.
Is another James Cameron movie. Since
yes,
I picked
it is.
a James Cameron movie for our first director's cut episode.
Look at that. Very interesting.
So Alien, the original, established this storyline for all sequels, including Aliens. Not really going to talk about any movie after that, because I think a lot of them are crap, even though I've seen everyone.
I have too, actually. Yeah, at this point,
terrible.
I have.
Yeah,
I did do a day where I watched all 4 of them, and
nice.
Resurrect. Well, I stopped at Resurrection. I haven't seen Alien vs. Predator or I actually have seen Covenant, and I did not like it.
Have you seen Prometheus?
Oh, I have seen Prometheus. Yes, actually, many times. Visually, it's gorgeous.
It's a terrible movie.
But yeah, the movie itself is not great. It's one of those other ones that I'm like, should I own this one? Probably not.
No.
I'm never gonna watch it.
It's awful.
Yeah.
I will say, though, Alien vs. Predator is very good.
I've heard that it was good.
I was absolutely shocked. You will like it. It is very fun. It is well written. It actually is somewhat believable in terms of the battles and everything like that. It's very cool to see them both on screen.
All right. Is that the Adrian Brody one?
No, this one has Sana Lathan and Lance Henriksen in it, and a couple of other actors that I think you'd probably recognize. Tommy Flanagan's in it, and then also Ewan Bremner, which of course you would recognize because he's in Trainspotting, right?
I love Ewan Bremner.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so Ewan Bremner's in it, so I knew there was somebody you'd totally recognize.
All right, fine, I'm sold.
Cool. All right, so give that a shot. So again, coming back, this is the original though, but this is such a great, fun topic, and again, spawned an entire genre that it's just so great to talk about this movie. I'm so thrilled to have the opportunity. For any of you who haven't seen it, first and foremost, this is where the tagline, "In space, no one can hear you scream." It's from this movie. That is the tagline to the movie, and that is so cool that is now in our pop culture lexicon.
I know, I love that.
This movie starts off with a crew of a very large spaceship waking up from basically hypersleep, is what you assume it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Computers are popping up, and it turns out that they are blue-collar workers who are transporting a very large shipment of ore that has been mined from a foreign planet, and they are bringing it back to Earth. That is their job. But they have been woken up out of hypersleep partway through the journey because their computer has received some sort of message They haven't decoded it yet. It's not from a human, but it is a trigger for the computer that because it picked up some sort of foreign message, it wakes everyone up and stops on its journey. They decide as a crew that they have to go investigate. It's part of their contract with this company that hires them to ship this ore, and they have to go investigate it. And so it's this foreign planet that is still far, far away from Earth, and they need to go track and pinpoint where this message is coming from and who's sending it and why. They land on this planet. Half of the crew puts on spacesuits and goes to track where this message is coming from. The investigation team finds an alien ship, which this ship is so fucking cool. Again, the visuals of this movie are incredible. And it's very obviously a ghost ship. There's no sign of life. It seems very old. And they just need to explore what the hell is going on before going back to their own ship. And they find this very alien-looking pilot in a pilot's chair. And something has burst out of his chest, and they can tell that by the skeleton. Again, this is a very old ship that has been abandoned for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're just about done, and they see another chamber, and one of the guys who seems very eager through most of the beginning of this movie, who is played by John Hurt, he's like, let me just go investigate this room, and we'll leave. And he goes down, and this room has a bit of an atmosphere, and it has a bunch of these pod things that he's not really sure about. And then, like an absolute dumbass, he goes and investigates and start poking around.
I know, yeah. Yeah, because he mentions that there's, like, humidity and, like, there's
film
it's
over
hotter.
These things, yeah.
Yeah, there's something crazy going on.
There are many times in this movie, though, where you kind of want to yell at the TV, where you're like, no, don't do that, don't do that. This is a bad idea. Similar to...
so many times.
Right? Similar to when we talked about Romeo and Juliet, where the whole movie, you know how this is going to end. You're like, God damn it, do something different. Make a different decision this time. And in the beginning of this movie, you do have similar feelings. And so he is investigating these interesting-looking pods, and one of them opens up, and you see a very quick, jarring shot of something jumping out of the pods and onto this guy's suit. It cuts back to the ship where they're still investigating things. And Sigourney Weaver's character, who is the third officer on the ship, she asks the science officer, played by Ian Holm, hey, has a computer translated or figured out this message? He's like, no. And she goes, well, why don't I give it a shot? And she goes basically into the hub of this computer, and then the computer spits out that this is a warning. Mm-hmm. And she goes back to the front of the ship and goes, oh shit, this is actually a warning. This was not an SOS call. We should not be here. And that's when the team gets back from investigating this ship where the message came from. And the captain is part of this team, and he says, hey, let us in. And Sigourney Weaver's like, what's wrong with this crew member? The captain's like, something attached to his face. We're not really sure. Let us in so he can go to the infirmary. And she's like, no, we cannot break quarantine. This is a quarantine situation. We can't let him in on this ship. And the captain's like, he's going to die if we don't bring him in. This is an order. And she's like, this could infect all of us. We need to follow quarantine. And the science officer goes down and opens the door for them.
Oh, so lame.
God damn it.
Okay, Ripley, I'm at the interlock hatch now.
Hey, Ripley.
Right here.
We're clean. Let us in.
What happened to Kane?
Something has attached itself to him. We have to get him to the infirmary right away.
What kind of thing? I need a clear definition.
An organism. Open the hatch.
Wait a minute. If we let it in, the ship could be infected. You know the quarantine procedure.
24 hours for decontamination.
It could die in 24 hours. Open the hatch.
Listen to me. If we break quarantine, we could all die.
Look, could you open the goddamn hatch? We have to get him inside.
No.
I can't do that, and if you were in my position, you'd do the same.
Ripley, this is an order. Open that hatch right now. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Ripley, this is an order. You hear me?
Yes. I read you. The answer is negative.
In the hatch open.
And they remove this guy's suit, and there is something attached to his face.
Yes, there is. Wrapped around his neck, no less.
They try to get this thing off. It's called a face hugger, if anybody wants to know the technical term for the Alien series. This is a face hugger.
I actually did not know that.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, for obvious reasons, that is the name of this thing.
Very.
And this man is alive. He is still breathing. He's getting oxygen. He seems fine. He's just got this thing attached to his face. And like, okay, well, we can't take it off. They try to take it off, and it has acid for blood. And they're like, oh, shit. Okay, well, we can't take it off. If we remove it from him, maybe that'll kill him. So they just leave him where he is in the infirmary. Within a few hours, he is now awake. That thing has come off of his face and has died in the corner.
Yes, yeah.
And he's like, hey, man, I'm just really hungry. Can I eat before we go back into hypersleep and go home? I just want to go home. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, this is great. Yeah, okay, fine. And again, this movie builds so well. You just see these as, with hindsight, these are bad decisions. Of course, the crew doesn't know any better. But you're just, as an audience member, you're just going, God damn it. And so they go eat. And this becomes a very famous scene.
Yes, it does.
This is where the alien bursts out of this guy's chest, because in reality, this facehugger was laying an alien embryo in this guy's chest.
Mm-hmm.
This scene is absolutely memorable, is absolutely incredible, and one of the reasons is that cast members knew that the creature would be bursting out of John Hurt. They had seen this little alien puppet, which, by the way, is kind of cute when it's a baby. But
with its silver teeth.
Oh, yeah. Its little tail. But they had not been told that a bunch of blood from high-pressure pumps and squibs were going to be used in this scene. So when the creature bursts through his chest, a big stream of blood shoots all over these actors, including directly at Veronica Cartwright.
Oh, yeah.
It shocked her enough that she fell over and went into hysterics.
Oh, my gosh.
And according to Tom Skerritt, another actor, he's the captain in this movie, what you saw on camera was the real response. She had no idea what the hell happened, and all of a sudden this thing just came up and sprayed us all with blood.
Wow. Yeah, she really does go pretty nuts.
Oh, she absolutely
Everybody else
does.
is kind of like, just is like dumbfounded, and she is going insane.
Yes. And because of all of the genuine reactions and because of how shocking this was, because there was no real horror or even that much tension in this movie before this scene, it built into this crescendo that was really incredible. In 2007, Empire named it as the greatest R-rated moment in film.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So from this moment, before this happened, this was a sci-fi movie. But from this moment, this has turned into a horror film.
Hell yeah.
The rest of the story follows this crew as they are fighting the alien on their ship. It is terrifying. It is intense. You question what is going to happen. It is unpredictable. It is a fantastic sci-fi horror film.
It really fucking is. I was watching it in my theater room. I had the lights down. I had my my light set to green behind the TV, so
Nice.
it was a little, ambiance. I had my little fake fire going, and as his chest explodes, and the funny thing is, like I said, I've seen this movie before. I know it's coming, but the first initial explosion before the alien is seen actually did fucking scare me. And I'm sitting there, and I jumped, and my wife is like, "Haven't you seen this?" I'm like, yeah, but are you not watching this?
Exactly.
And then after the whole thing, I immediately texted you about how amazing that practical effect still is. It's just like one of those moments that is embedded in cinema fans' brains forever. And it still, over 40 years later, is just fucking incredibly done so well.
Wholeheartedly agree. And so was the design of the rest of this film. The alien and all four iterations of this alien, from the egg and facehugger to then the baby to then the adult version.
Oh, yeah.
It was all designed by H.R. Geiger, who is an artist. I've seen a lot of his work. Very dark, very gothic, very creepy, very industrial metal feeling.
Yes.
And his design of how this alien and the derelict ship looked added to this movie so spectacularly. I don't think this movie would have been the same if they hadn't hired him.
Oh, I agree with that fully. One of my old roommates that I lived with in Hollywood, his name's Alex. You actually and I worked on his one of his band's music videos.
Oh yeah,
he
Alex.
had a
He was
couple
great.
posters of H.R. Geiger stuff, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I love his stuff. It's great." And I remember he and I talking about how he designed the Alien and all that stuff for Alien and Aliens, and very, very fascinating artist.
He is, and I want to know why in so many 70s and 80s sci-fi movies, even sci-fi horror movies, the computer is always named something creepy like Mother or Hal. Why
Right.
can't you pick a nice name, a gentle name like AJ or Holly or Timmy or something where you know, a computer name Lily is not going to attack you and decide to kill you?
Well, Star Trek, they just call it computer.
Exactly.
So computer.
Gender neutral, that's fine too. But
There you go.
they call this computer Mother throughout the movie, and I'm like,
Oh, I know.
this bitch
yeah.
can't be trusted. Like, it's such a creepy. I just feel like a mother when she's screaming at her. I'm like, no, she's fighting against you as well. Like, don't trust her.
Definitely.
It was really creepy to me. And the only thing that other than the computer screens, that dates this movie is the crew smoking.
Oh, yeah. Well,
think about it.
I guess that's
if
true.
You're
There aren't
in
a whole lot of...
space and your ship needs to create the environment for you to live, the ship isn't going to want you to smoke and make it harder.
Probably not. No, that's very true. Yeah, a lot of people were smoking in this movie.
Yeah, and I was like, no, now we think of astronauts as the peak of physical fitness and human endurance. Like, no, these aren't smokers.
No, not at all.
But again, this story is, and I love this summary, it is the frightening, intense story of the discovery of a vicious alien species by a blue-collar space crew.
Hey.
I always
nice.
forget they're blue-collar.
Yeah, me too. I actually did as well, and it really comes into play a lot when they're discussing if they're going to go on the planet, if they're going to keep him alive with this, that, and the other. And then Parker even mentions, like, my contract doesn't involve any of this, and it's like,
am I
at
getting
least they're
paid?
standing up. Yeah, they're standing up for themselves for sure, but it's difficult to stand up for yourself in a situation where you're millions of miles away from anybody else that can overwrite anything that's going on.
Exactly. And would you go back for the cat?
Hell yeah, kitty.
Right? Aww.
Oddly enough, I probably would, but then again, there's a part of me that's like, okay, my life or the cat's life. I might
Would your
just
survival
keep it.
instinct kick in?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you just live with a regret.
Jones is so cute, though.
It was an adorable cat, and there were 4 of them that they tried to make look exactly alike for the shooting of this film.
Well, it seemed to work out okay.
It did. I thought they did a great job.
Yeah.
It was an adorable little cat. And I've alluded to several people in this movie so far. Let me just run through it because this cast is fantastic. As I mentioned, Sigourney Weaver, she was basically unknown actress at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy thing is, it came down to her and Meryl Streep.
No way.
They had both been at Yale together.
Whoa.
So they were friends. And ultimately, for 2 reasons. First, Ridley Scott brought in a bunch of production office workers who were women to watch the screen tests for this film because he wanted a female perspective. And they all unanimously picked Sigourney Weaver as being an incredible actress and relatable.
Oh, that's cool.
The second reason was that unfortunately Meryl Streep was mourning the death of her partner, John Cazale, who everybody knows as Fredo from the Godfather movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had been partners and lived together, and unfortunately he died very young right after the Godfather movies of cancer.
No kidding. I had no idea.
Yeah, and so she was mourning his death at the time of casting, so that was another reason why they went with Sigourney Weaver, which I love Meryl Streep. She's incredible, but Sigourney Weaver was absolutely born to play this role.
Hell fucking yeah, she was.
She's also been in the Ghostbuster movies.
Yes, she has, yeah.
Are you the Keymaster?
Yeah. So awesome.
I love those movies.
I've never seen the sequel to Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters 2?
Never seen it.
It's so good.
I've only seen Ghostbusters like twice, and the first time I ever saw it was in the last decade because it was a re-release in theaters, and my dad and I went to see it. I had never seen it before.
Oh my gosh, yes. Watch the second one. It's very fun.
Okay.
Yes. She's also in Working Girl. Did you know that she's the ship's computer voice in WALL-E?
I did know that, yes.
God, I love that.
Yeah.
She also narrates the U.S. version of Planet Earth, the
Yeah, she
documentary
does.
series. And going up against David Attenborough, she does a pretty good job.
She does. Yeah.
She's also in Dave from one of our earlier episodes that I had picked.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, I will always bring this up when discussing her because it's one of my favorite roles of hers, Galaxy Quest.
Well, how can you not?
Right?
So fantastic. I love Galaxy Quest. That is
Yes.
a great movie, and it holds up to this day even. It is still hysterical.
It does. I am absolutely picking it at some point. I love that comedy.
Yeah.
Tom Skerritt plays the captain, and most people would recognize him as the father in Picket Fences. I was a little too young for it, but I know that's a role that he's really well known for.
Never even heard of it.
I think it was on ABC or something back in the early 80s.
It was the TV show?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, no, never heard of it.
He was in the original Top Gun movie as Viper, one of the trainers.
Hell yeah,
Hell
he
yeah,
was.
He's also in Contact.
Oh, another one I need to rewatch.
And I loved him as the father in A River Runs Through It, which is one of my favorite Robert Redford movies.
Never saw that one either.
Oh, it's beautiful. Brad Pitt's in it.
Ah.
The scenery of it makes it worth watching, let alone it being a good story, too.
All right.
And John Hurt is the one who gets infected by the alien.
Mm-hmm.
He unfortunately passed away in 2017.
Oh, yeah, that was sad.
He is well known for The Elephant Man.
Mm-hmm.
He was also in Contact, funny enough.
No kidding, was he really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He is Mr. Ollivander, the wand maker in the Harry Potter movies.
Mm-hmm.
He's also a political leader in V for Vendetta, which is a complete turn for him. He is bold and yelling and aggressive in V for Vendetta. It's a great role.
Great movie.
And it's a great movie. And he's also the kooky professor in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
Well, that's forgettable. I do not remember that.
That movie sucks so hard.
I remember him mostly from Hellboy.
There are things that go bump in the night.
Yes.
We are the ones that bump back.
It's like, oh, hell yeah.
I love that.
I fucking love Hellboy. Hellboy and Hellboy 2 Golden Army.
They're
fucking
great movies.
Killer fucking movies.
They are great movies.
So good. Cheese ball, but at the same time, like acceptable cheese ball.
Exactly.
You know?
Veronica Cartwright is the one who gets the blood sprayed on her in the dinner scene that we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
I remember her from, she's this really uptight townswoman who's married to the mayor in the movie Witches of Eastwick, which you haven't seen yet.
Oh, yeah,
but
no, I have not.
it's a classic role of hers. She's the one who gets cursed by cherries. If anybody's seen Witches of Eastwick, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You will
Okay.
get the reference when you watch it, don't worry.
I do. That's a Halloween movie. I should check that out before the end of October.
She's also in the 1978 version of The Body Snatchers, which we talked about last week.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Harry Dean Stanton's also in this movie. Unfortunately, he died in 2017 as well. He was in a bunch of stuff, including The Last Temptation of Christ, Red Dawn, Escape from New York, and Cool Hand Luke, too, which I had forgotten about. Yeah. And the last two actors I want to talk about in this movie, first Ian Holm, who we discussed in our very first episode because he was the dad in A Life Less Ordinary.
Yay!
He is most recognizable as Bilbo Baggins from Lord of the Rings.
Yes, he is.
I want to see mountains again, Gandalf. Mountains! And settle down where I can finish my book.
And why not? Why can't I keep it?
Why can't I keep it?
Yeah. So good.
He's also Cornelius in The Fifth Element. He's the priest.
Yes, he is so. And you know what's interesting? I wonder if Corbin Dallas is named after Dallas, Tom Skerritt's character from Alien. I've always had that kind of idea. Because, you know, Corbin Dallas, Space, Dallas, Alien, Fifth Element,
I could see
Ian
the connection.
Holm.
I would love that callback. It would make sense, actually, given
It would be awesome
the genre.
to find that out. But we will never know, at least from Ian Holm anyway.
No,
Rest in peace
unfortunately,
as well.
he passed away in 2020.
Yeah, that was sad.
Yeah, and Yaphet Kotto is the last actor I'll talk about in this movie. There aren't a ton of people in this movie. It's really
there's like 6 people,
7 people in this movie. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
That's it. And if I were the second AD or first AD on this, I would be fucking loving it because there's no background. There's nothing you have to worry about except for these 6 or 7 people making it to set every day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for sure. I'm sure production had a ball with this one. Like, no background? Hell yeah.
Exactly. Nobody to
every day
corral?
on set. Like,
Awesome.
do we have any background today? Yeah, we have 300. God damn it.
Exactly. Crowd control was the worst on set. God damn it, I hated that. And Yaphet Kotto, unfortunately, he passed away in 2021.
What?
Most
My
people
goodness
from
gracious.
this movie are dead, unfortunately. It sucks.
Wow.
He was in a show when I was growing up called Homicide: Life on the Street that was very good, and he was the captain of the precinct, and I was introduced to Yaphet Kotto through that, but he's also in The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's really good in that movie. So
oh, cool.
And I almost forgot, and I'm glad we talked about how many people are in this movie, because I almost forgot the alien. There is a human in that suit.
Wait, that wasn't a real alien?
I'm sorry. I
damn
guess
it.
that's technically a spoiler. My apologies.
Yeah, right.
Instead, it was played by Balaji Badejo. Apologize if I'm not getting that right. He was a 6'10" graphic designer.
No kidding.
He was hired because of his height and his very, very slender frame.
Wow.
He was sent for Tai Chi and mime classes to learn how to slow down his movements to make
that's
them
cool.
look alien.
Wow.
And a special swing had to be constructed for him to sit down during filming on set because he could not sit down in a regular chair because of the alien's tail.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, like, on the back end of the alien.
He was a graphic designer who was found at a bar by one of the members of the casting crew.
No shit.
And was introduced to Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott immediately hired him. It was his only acting credit ever.
Wow.
Unfortunately, he died in 1992 at the age of 39 due to sickle cell anemia.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. So I don't know if this film is like The Exorcist, where it's kind of cursed, or if we're just getting older and it's because this film was released in 1979, and either one is possible.
Let's go with the latter.
But yes, please. But yeah, a big portion of this cast is no longer with us, unfortunately.
Damn.
The story of Alien, not the screenplay, but the story, was written by Ronald Shusett, who actually wrote a couple of pretty cool sci-fi movies, I think. He wrote the screen story to Total Recall. Of course, Total Recall was based on a book by Philip K. Dick, but the screen story was written by him. He also wrote this awesome sci-fi movie with Emilio Estevez, Anthony Hopkins, and Mick Jagger, and Rene Russo that came out in the 80s called Free Jack.
I've never heard of it.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, super
Really?
80s campy, but just fantastic.
Oh, wow.
I love it. I loved Mick Jagger in it.
Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
Strange.
It was awesome.
That's interesting. I've never heard of that movie, but I do like that cast. I've never seen Mick Jagger in anything other than music videos. I think still my favorite music video is the one with David Bowie and Mick Jagger. That video makes me laugh every time I see it.
Yes, and we have mentioned David Bowie again in an episode. Nicely done. Haven't done that in a
Had
little
to
while.
throw it in there.
Right?
I know. Yeah.
We fell off the wagon with that one.
A little bit, yeah.
Ridley Scott directed this movie, and I talked about his brother a lot in our It's the End of the World episode because Tony Scott directed Crimson Tide. His brother Ridley is the one who directed this movie. It was his second movie ever, which is awesome.
That's really badass.
Right? The first movie he ever directed was called The Duelist. I haven't seen it, but...
Neither have I.
Yeah, I can't believe this was his second movie. He did a great job at it.
Yeah, hell yeah. I was thinking about that watching this. I'm like, 1979, Ridley Scott's up there now.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, how did he start with Alien? I honestly thought Alien was the first one he ever directed. And if it was the case, bravo. But,
Right.
even as a number 2 film for him, I mean, bravo again.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel the same way. And he followed up from Alien with Blade Runner.
Oh, hell yeah.
He then directed a movie called Legend that has Tom Cruise and Tim Curry in it, which I love.
I've never seen that movie.
It's a fantasy movie. It's hilarious. From
Is
the
it?
80s.
Is it like
No,
really
I mean it's
bad?
no. It's again campy fun.
Oh, okay. I've seen a lot of the behind the scenes photos of Tim Curry getting in that costume, and it's very impressive.
But Legend is fun. No, it's very earnest. It's fantasy in the 80s. It's very fun. My sister and I loved that movie growing up. And then he directed Thelma and Louise, G.I. Jane, Gladiator, Black Hawk Down, which you've spoken about. It was a pick of yours a few episodes ago.
Indeed.
And then most recently, The Martian.
I really like The Martian.
The book is better because it goes into a ton of detail about how he survives on Mars. Really provides a lot of context and backstory, and of course, the length of his stay. There's a lot more to it than the movie shows, but I think the movie is really great. And so, discussing how this movie came about, because this really created the sci-fi horror genre in a lot of ways. At least the modern iteration that we know of it now. Mm-hmm. When Star Wars came out in 1977, sci-fi was a really hot genre, and 20th Century Fox, riding that wave, really wanted to follow up quickly. But George Lucas had told them that the sequel to Star Wars was several years away. The only other spaceship script that they had sitting on their desk was actually Alien.
Wow.
It started with a $4 million budget, but after Ridley Scott had been hired, he created a really detailed storyboards of the entire film and presented it to them. Yeah, he worked really hard on this, and they were
He's a madman that way.
He is, yeah. Like, we've talked about that. He did a huge storyboarding for Black Hawk Down, didn't he?
Yeah, he storyboarded every single shot for Black Hawk Down.
Jesus Christ.
Every shot of a 2.5 hour long fucking movie.
That's an action movie that has really intense scenes.
Oh, yeah. It's madness.
Yeah. That's dedication, because I would go insane. I could not focus that much on it.
I feel the same way. That's why, I always, whenever they have a storyboard credit, I'm like, well, at least there was that.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
And granted, the director's working hard with the storyboard artist to get those shots storyboarded, but yeah, if you're a one-man show in the storyboard room like Ridley Scott is, it's pretty impressive.
Very. It would just get tedious for me after a while. That's the thing. I can't focus on something that detailed for that long.
Sure.
So yes, it was very hard work, and it impressed Fox so much that they doubled the budget to over $11 million.
Oh, wow.
So more than double the
nuts.
budget. Yeah,
definitely.
That's crazy.
I mean, you think about... No, that's pretty badass, really, to think about, especially for his second feature film. His budget got really substantial, and oddly enough, watching this movie the last time, I'm sitting there thinking at least $20 million because of just the authenticity and the practicality of the whole film. But just about $11 million, that's still very impressive.
Yeah, and he did a great job with it, and really, really impressed. Agreed that it's only a second movie, and he did all that with it. And they really threw him the reins, which is great. But he was adamant on emphasizing horror in Alien rather than sci-fi, and Fox was really hesitant about that. But in the end, he won out, and thank God, because it's such a good movie.
It really is, and there are moments of just pure terror for sure.
Oh, yeah. And so with an $11 million budget, the U.S. box office was $62 million.
Damn.
And worldwide, it grossed over $184 million total.
Woo! That's awesome. Damn.
Why we have so many sequels?
There you go. Yeah, banking on it. Why not? And they've all done pretty well, haven't they?
Yeah. I mean, they have. Alien 3 certainly didn't do as well as the other ones.
Right.
But they did not have the same director. Every Alien movie has had a different director. So
that's right.
The first one's Ridley Scott. The second one is James Cameron. We've talked about that extensively.
Mm-hmm.
The third one is David Fincher.
Yes.
And beyond that, I don't keep track because they're all crap.
Oh, well, Alien Resurrection was directed by a French director named Jean-Pierre Jeunet, and he directed Amélie and A Very Long Engagement, and Delicatessen, and Micmacs, and a slew of other films out of France that are all very, very good movies.
How different to go from all of that, from Amélie to Alien Resurrection.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. And did you, I wonder if you know about this whole thing with David Fincher in number 3, the studio was very close to firing him because of the way that he was directing the film, but Sigourney Weaver went up to bat for him, saying that he was actually doing a pretty kick-ass job.
I didn't know that. I had just heard that they kind of wrangled him in on the script, and so wasn't he pretty upset with the finished product because it's different than...
Very much so.
Right? It's different than what he wanted.
Oh, yeah. When a lot of times when the studio gets involved, that does happen.
Yeah, and so his...
And unfortunate.
Vision and storyline for Alien 3 is wildly different than the theatrical release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it sucks.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it's a badass movie, but it certainly holds no candle to the first two at all.
Not at all.
Yeah. And so Captain Dallas, who's played by Tom Skerritt in this film, originally the role was offered to one of my favorite actors. I've talked about him a lot. He starred in my pick for our Father's Day episode.
Father's Day episode.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a lot of movies. Father's Day episode.
Well, he's in Star Wars.
Oh, was it Harrison Ford?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
wait, what the fuck Father's Day movie with Harrison
Indiana
Ford?
Jones and the Last
Jones.
Crusade.
Jesus Christ, all fucking mighty. Wow.
So Harrison Ford turned down the role, which is good because I don't think...
He's too young.
Yeah, Tom Skerritt really had an air of, I would guess seniority would be the best way to describe it, because he doesn't have an air of authority. Like, people challenge him throughout this entire movie.
Yeah, no, that's true. They do.
It really shows the erosion of things, spending a whole lot of time in space with just a couple people, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he had an air of seniority that Harrison Ford could not have pulled off at the time.
Right. I agree.
Ridley Scott, which, by the way, it's Sir Ridley Scott.
Oh, yes.
Did all the handheld camera work himself, which I think you would have gotten. I figured you would like that trivia.
Hell yeah.
And he cites 3 movies as the shaping influences on Alien. Star Wars, obviously. 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I totally see given the design of the interior of the spaceship. A lot of those, like when they sit down and talk to Mother in that hub.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
like pacing also.
Yeah, I know. That's a good point, too. And then also the Texas Chainsaw Massacre for its treatment of horror.
Oh, wow. I've never seen the original 70s version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It came out in 1974.
I hear it's really scary.
Yeah, I hear it's
only
very
version...
good, but not that gory, but very scary.
Right, yeah. The only version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre I've seen is the 2003 one led by Jessica Biel, and that one sucks.
Was that the one with Matthew McConaughey in it?
No, that was the 90s version.
That was the 90s version, yeah. God,
Renee Zellweger.
A lot of them.
Yeah, they literally have been banking on that story for decades.
Yeah. And many producers or production companies have professional readers that read and summarize scripts that have been submitted. And that was actually my first job ever in the industry, was being a script reader.
That's right, I remember that.
Yeah, and so what you have to do as a reader is you'll read the script and decide whether or not it should get to the next stage of, being read by someone higher than you. And you have to summarize it. So you're like, okay, the script is approved to move forward from me, and here's a little blurb about basically an elevator pitch of it, or even a 1-sentence summary. And the summary for Alien was, it's like Jaws, but in space.
Oh.
Which is so accurate now that I think about it.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yeah. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. And lastly, something that I found out by researching this movie I never knew. The film is set in the year 2122.
Really?
So
wow.
We now have 100 years until this happens.
We do.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? I always think like when movies are set so far into the future, I'm just like, okay, so we have this amount of time until we get there.
Yeah.
And I wonder if something like this will ever go down, because if you really think about it, a lot of science fiction novels that were written back in the day, most of that shit has come to fruition. Now, obviously, something like this very likely may not happen, although we just never know. Because every day there's something new being released from NASA about radio waves and frequencies and stuff coming from the far recesses of space and all that stuff. And I'm very fascinated always with what is out there. I'm a big, I like to stargaze. I go out in the middle of the field near my house and I stand up and just look up there and I follow the ISS as it goes over.
I really believe that there are aliens out there too, or at least intelligent life somewhere else in the universe, like we've discussed previously. Yeah. But I read a couple years ago this theory by a scientist. It was a really interesting article, and he theorizes that there is very little intelligent life out there that travels through space, because as a species evolves, it will never get to the point where it can do long distance travel, because as its technology and weapons have evolved, the species will destroy itself before it can get to the point of long distance travel.
Huh.
And I always thought that was so fascinating that, if you look at our planet and the threat of nuclear war or the destruction of the environment and climate, we might not get to the point where we're advanced enough to travel long distances in space before we destroy ourselves.
It's very true. Yeah,
I
I
always
agree
thought
with
that
that.
was such a fascinating theory.
That is pretty wild. Thinking about that, every now and then I had an odd theory of my own that anytime somebody sees like a UFO or anything like that, it's time travelers and not necessarily anything from out in the recesses of space. And I've always thought that we can never, my theory is that we can't ever catch these UFOs because the time travelers only have a little bit of time before they have to go back to their real time.
Oh, that's interesting. Kind of like Star Trek First Contact.
Exactly. Yes.
Nice.
So I guess it's already been done before, but but no. At the same time,
cool
yeah,
theory.
like,
So, yeah.
well, I've copywritten it, so nobody can do anything with it.
Exactly. Good call. Good call.
Yes.
So, for any of our listeners, though, we would love to hear your theories on aliens and
Oh yeah.
what intelligent life could possibly be out there. Or if you're one of those people, which is totally valid, if you think, nope, we're the only ones.
I do know a lot of people with that mindset.
Yeah.
I was involved with a woman years ago that was like, no, we're the dominant species of the entire universe. I'm like, you're out of your mind to think that. But okay.
We're not that cool.
No, right? Yeah. I mean, we make some great movies and some insane technology, but where does that technology come from?
So our listeners, please feel free to reach out and let us know what your alien theories are.
Yes, indeed.
All right, so that should definitely wrap up my movie. So that should be about it for Alien. And I love this movie. I'm so glad I was able to talk about it. It has the biggest page of trivia that I have ever seen on both IMDb and Wikipedia. If you are interested in this movie at all, I've only covered a small bit of the trivia. Please feel free to look it up on IMDb because this page goes for days. Yeah,
Wow.
I had to be
I might
pretty
have to do that.
selective.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that interesting? Like when we research these things, I'm like, God, what can I use? Because all of it's so fantastic. Mm-hmm. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I'm really glad we covered it. And I'm really stoked for the opportunity to have picked it for our month of horror. And I'm now very happy to hand it over to you for your last film for the month of horror.
All right. Well, thank you very much, V. I really enjoyed talking about Alien because, like I said, I've only seen it a handful of times. I saw it when I was 12, the first time with my father, and it's a movie that I still don't own, but likely will be adding to my plethora of 4Ks in the very near future. Let's jump into mine. We wrapped up your month of October with Alien. We're going to wrap up my month of October. This film is going to come out on the 26th, which is close to October 28th, and this is our 28th episode. So in going with that, and not actually even going with that, coincidentally, I have chosen my favorite horror film written by Alex Garland, directed by Danny Boyle. This is 28 Days Later. Ooh, I love this movie so fucking much. I love it. I love it. Alex Garland, for those of you that may not know him as a household name, he has written some great films over the last decade and a half. He has written this one. He wrote Sunshine, also directed by Danny Boyle, sci-fi horror set in space. He wrote Ex Machina, also directed Ex Machina. He wrote and directed Annihilation. And Danny Boyle has, as we all have come to know with my obsession with Danny Boyle, has directed Trainspotting, Shallow Grave, Millions, A Life Less Ordinary, The Beach, Slumdog Millionaire, which won Best Picture at the Oscars. Danny Boyle's the fucking man. He is a brilliant director. He jumps from genre to genre, which is one thing that I really respect about the guy. He also really incorporates a lot of human drama in all of his films. 28 Days Later, for those that don't know, is about a virus. We all know about those, don't we? We've all dealt with one in the last couple of years. So 28 Days Later begins in a animal research facility. Warning for those, kind of like how we discussed in The Fountain, there is some animal testing, although we don't see any of it beyond a chimp strapped to a table with electrodes on its head, watching a lot of really horrible videos going on across the globe. Some of these videos were actually made for the film. Some of them were taken from actual riots across the world. After things kind of go down very, very unfortunately in this testing facility, we meet a young man named Jim. Jim wakes up in the hospital. He's by himself. There's nobody around. He gets out of the hospital. He's walking around London, completely desolate. Nobody, not a soul in London. He's just lost. He really has no idea what's going on. He's been knocked out for a while. We find out exactly why. He ended up getting in a bit of a car accident. He's a bicycle carrier, and a car cut across him, and he went into a coma for a couple of weeks. Wakes up to the world essentially being devastated and desolate at this point.
The world ended while he was asleep.
The world ended while he was asleep. He is, in his mind, likely the only survivor. So he's walking around London trying to find another survivor if ever there was one. He comes across two people, Selena and Mark. They take him under their wing after they rescue him from a couple of the infected, and we find out this infection brings upon rage inside people. This is a virus that gets absorbed in the saliva and the blood of the apes that we meet in the beginning of this film. And all of the quote-unquote zombie-like folks that we are introduced to in this film have been infected with the rage virus. The rage virus is actually a play on the Ebola virus, hemorrhaging, red eyes, disorientation, and a complete chaotic personality. So they really nail it, in my opinion, with, the first meeting of some of the infected is truly terrifying because Jim goes into a church hoping to find some resolution, and he's met with nothing but pure terror, and he's chased out of the church, and that's when, again, he meets Selena and Mark. Mark and Selena bring him to their safe haven, and one of my favorite lines in this whole movie is, after they get to know each other's names, Mark sits down and he goes, "Well, Jim, I've got some bad news."
Okay, Jim. I've got some bad news.
And that is just not anything you want to fucking hear after you've been asleep for so long. Selena goes into this monologue that I just love. It's a one-shot monologue, and she starts talking about how it started as rioting. It was happening in small villages, then it was coming through your windows, and then people that you know and love were just starting to get infected with this rage virus.
It started as rioting, and right from the beginning you knew this was different. Because it was happening in small villages, market towns, and then it wasn't on the TV anymore. It was in the street outside. It was coming through your windows. It was a virus. An infection. You didn't need a doctor to tell you that. It was the blood. Or something in the blood. By the time they tried to evacuate the cities, it was already too late. The infection was everywhere. The army blockades were overrun. And that's when the exodus started. The day before the TV and radio stopped broadcasting, there were reports of infection in Paris and New York. We didn't hear anything more after that.
So Jim decides that he needs to go and find his parents. They're not really about doing that just yet because the sun's going down, and just like most zombie movies, you don't want to go out in the nighttime. You want to go out when the sun's up, when they're maybe hibernating or doing whatever else they're doing. So the next day they go with Jim to find his parents. Other than that, that's kind of the movie. I mean, we don't do spoilers here. If you've seen 28 Days Later, you know the premise and the way this movie pans out. But I don't really want to get too much more into it other than they really just kind of go about getting to safer places throughout the entire movie.
Yes, it's all about this movie is all about survival and resources, which would be true at the end of the world. Absolutely,
100%. And it's very interesting having seen this movie, which actually was released in 2003 in the United States. It was released in November of 2002 in the UK. It was released in June of 2003 in the United States. I went opening day, and I remember being very excited because when I saw this trailer, it didn't look like a Blair Witch Project type of a movie. It didn't look like a found footage film. But the way that it looked made me feel like I could have made this movie. And the cool thing about the way it's shot is Alex Garland and producer Andrew McDonald, who has produced a majority of Danny Boyle's films. He produced Trainspotting, he produced Millions, Shallow Grave. They wanted the camera work to feel as if we were also survivors traveling with, Selena and Jim, which really paid off, in my opinion, because every time I've seen this movie, I do feel like I'm there. There's, and certain movies really bring you in. This movie brought me in immediately when I saw this in theaters. And I remember standing outside of the Edwards Cinema in Canyon Country, California, and I ran into a friend of mine, and he was like, "Hey, what are you going to go see?" I'm like, "Oh, my buddies and I, we're going to go see 28 Days Later tonight." He goes, as cheap as that looks, I'm real excited to see that. I'll probably see that later on. I'm like, "Yeah, it looks like it was really cheaply made. That's part of the reason why I'm so excited about it." Cillian Murphy, Naomi Harris, very unknown actors at the time, played minor roles in certain UK shows and movies and stuff like that. Brendan Gleeson, who we later meet, he was one of the more established names. Mm-hmm. Those of you that may not know him by name, you Harry Potter nuts may know him as Mad-Eye Moody. He has been in, oddly enough, after seeing 28 Days Later, it was like Cillian Murphy and Brendan Gleeson showed up in every fucking movie that I watched. They were both in Cold Mountain together. Brendan Gleeson was in the Harry Potter movies. Brendan Gleeson showed up, and Cillian Murphy actually showed up in a movie called Breakfast on Pluto, and they worked together a lot. And Cillian Murphy, doing bit parts up until this movie, he really exploded on the scene with 28 Days Later in the United States anyway, and then Christopher Nolan cast him as the Scarecrow in Batman Begins, which, in all seriousness, what a perfect casting, in my opinion. He was then cast by Wes Craven for Red Eye with Rachel McAdams, where he sits on the plane with her, that entire flight. Red Eye, that's not a bad movie. I remember seeing that in theaters, and majority of the reason why I went was because of Cillian Murphy and 28 Days Later, yeah. So for those that may not know a whole lot about the making of 28 Days Later, and, I could really get into every nook and cranny of 28 Days Later because I love it so much. And I've talked about this movie ever since I saw it. The movie is 2 decades old, which is really nuts to think about. 28 Days Later really does hold up in the sense that even right now we're dealing with, disease and airborne illnesses. And just like we always will be dealing with diseases and airborne illnesses. And it was very interesting to read that Alex Garland and Danny Boyle really thought that the whole zombie idea of zombies eating brains of people was really an outdated concept, and they wanted this movie to be a more realistic zombie situation because the globe, population of the globe is really truly mostly afraid of the fact that there could be a virus that they catch that could really just throw them into a tissy fit, if you will.
Yes, it was very believable, and it was the first contagion or plague movie that I had seen since COVID.
Oh, no kidding.
It was such a new lens to view these type of movies with. It was very interesting to watch this movie today versus if I had watched it in 2019.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. That's the crazy thing. Like certain movies like 12 Monkeys, you think back in the 90s.
Yeah.
I watched 12 Monkeys about 8 months into the COVID outbreak, and that was an experience.
Terrible idea.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's definitely like, holy shit. One cool thing about the title of 28 Days Later, and this is an unconfirmed situation, but there's this understanding in the CDC and the world of science that peak immunity from a virus is widely considered to occur 28 days after infection.
Oh.
So we have 28 days later, Jim wakes up, he's not infected. So it was just interesting, maybe he is immune, but later on when more of the mayhem goes down, we do realize that he's got to keep his eyes, mouth, nose, and ears shut. Otherwise, he's fucked.
Yeah.
Which is always one of those things that Selena says to him early on in the movie. She goes, it's in the blood. At one bite, if you get bitten or you swallow saliva, I'm going to kill you right away because you have 10 and 20 seconds to kill them. It could be your closest friend, your brother, or your sister. It doesn't matter. It's about survival, and oddly enough, I agree with her on that 100%. It would be a very difficult situation to have to kill my sister, but if she were infected with something and she's coming after me, you better fucking believe that my life is pretty important. I love you, Lauren, but if you were infected with something...
You've been warned, Lauren.
Yes, indeed. So 28 Days Later, shot all over London, which is very impressive because for those that have seen 28 Days Later, the first few shots of Jim outside of the hospital are truly fucking terrifying. And the only other time I can think of something like this going down in a movie is Vanilla Sky, directed by Cameron Crowe, where Tom Cruise wakes up and he's having that dream and he's running through Manhattan. Now, London is such a massive city.
How? How did he get these shots is what I really wanted to ask you.
Isn't it so amazing?
Incredible.
It's just absolutely fucking nuts.
Amazing shots and terrifying shots.
Oh, yeah. So the shots that they used, the shots that they got, they only were allowed 1 hour of keeping traffic at bay. And that's one of the main reasons why this film was shot on Canon DVXL1 cameras. They had at least 10 to 12 cameras for the shoot. Canon DV XL1 cameras are mini digital video cameras. If anybody remembers mini DV tapes.
I do.
Oh, me too. I have a bunch of
one.
them. Yeah. I actually did get to work on a Canon XL1. A friend of my father's had one, and he brought it over and let me borrow it for a weekend, and a buddy of mine and I shot one of the dumbest things we could ever think of to shoot with it. So anyway, Canon XL1 mini DV cameras. They had 10 to 12 of these on set at any given time. For the opening shots of the movie, which this film was shot entirely in sequence, by the way.
I love that.
So with this film being shot entirely in sequence, very much blows my mind, actually, to have learned that, because in a movie like this, you'd think they'd want to do a lot of the bloodier action sequences before they get into a lot of the walking around, a lot of the dialogue, but they shot it in sequence, so that's amazing. So the first few scenes where Jim leaves the hospital and he's walking around London are completely desolate. There's nobody around. And they started blocking the roads at 4 o'clock in the morning. The police would give them an hour to shoot wherever they were. So the Westminster Abbey right there with Big Ben, they had an hour to do that. They blocked traffic for about a mile and a half away so that the sound mixer could not get any of the horns honking, which is also brilliant as fuck. But beyond the cops keeping people at bay while they were shooting these scenes, the production hired some extremely attractive women to go and ask a lot of the people that were sitting in their cars for over an hour while these shots were getting done, if that would be okay if they just continued shooting just a little bit longer,
Brilliant.
And everybody was totally fine with it. I mean, because why wouldn't you be? So yeah, complete desolation, right? Yeah. So complete desolation really for like the first 9 minutes of the film after we are taken out of the research facility. So on the motorway, which is the freeway in, America, the production had permission to use the M1, which is a very busy strip of road in London. They used it on a Sunday where the traffic wasn't as heavy. Between 7 and 9 a.m., they set up 10 cameras. Cops slowed traffic in all directions, and they really were only able to get about a minute worth of usable footage because of everything that's going around. And for those that have been in production, when you're shutting down a big major street, there's always going to be people that are unhappy, regardless of a beautiful woman asking you if it's okay or not.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine how many times the production was cursed out by very lovely Londoners. The mini DV cameras, the Canon XL1 cameras, were really a brand new camera at the time. They were not used for making feature films. The reason why the mini DV Canon XL1 cameras were used was because Andrew McDonald, producer, Danny Boyle, director, and Alex Garland, when they were looking for ways to shoot this, they landed on the Canon XL1 camera because of the simplicity and because the way that the footage looked really made it look very post-apocalyptic. And I agree with that. There's almost, without any kind of adjustments made on the camera settings, it really does have that sepia tone going on to it. Even though as beautiful as Killian's crystal blue eyes are, the movie still has that sepia tone going on, doesn't it, right?
Yeah, I mean, almost like that burned out look, maybe a little bit of a solar flare looking where, the saturation is wrong, right? It's just a little too orange. And it was perfect, absolutely perfect for this movie.
It really was, yeah. Most of the exterior shots were done so quickly, and that was one of the reasons why the police that were involved with the production were so happy with this shoot, was because if you're shooting on a 35mm camera, you're going to need 40 to an hour sometimes to set up certain shots, especially these shots of desolate London. So it really only took them minutes to get going. Pop the tape in, maybe change the aperture just a little bit, get it in focus, and boom, you're shooting. So they shot majority of the time with 5 or 6 cameras every scene. So they have all these different takes from different angles, which is one of the reasons why I love this movie too. There are so many angles in this movie that I'm just like, damn, so brilliant. Like just the wide shots, the close-ups. Several of the close-ups of Cillian Murphy running in the beginning are just like, how did they get that? My gosh, it's so fantastic. The cast of the film was unknown, and that was done intentionally. Danny Boyle wanted this film to be discovered by the masses and not rely on star power, which I think is fucking brilliant. Because I remember seeing this trailer, and really the first image I remember is Cillian Murphy walking out on the bridge in front of Big Ben going, hello! And then the next cut is a whole bunch of frenetic, scenes. So I'm just like, okay, how the fuck did they shut down London? What camera are they using? Who is this guy? And Danny Boyle directing, I'm fucking in. I'm done. That's it. I'm in. So not even a whole lot of marketing done for 28 Days Later other than Danny Boyle, director of Trainspotting. And, they're not dropping any names because they're all fairly unknown at the time, especially Naomi Harris and Megan Burns, who plays Hannah.
And I totally agree, and that adds to the tension, because if you cast someone, let's see, early 2000s, like Paul Walker or Tobey Maguire or somebody who's just super well-known, in the back of your mind the entire time, you're like, oh, well, he's totally going to survive. I know him. He's famous, whatever. And you're always making that connection like, oh, he'll be fine. Whereas with unknown people, you're like, I don't know who this is, and I don't know if he's going to live through this.
Exactly, yeah. No, it's brilliant. And even with everybody else, like the guy who plays Mark, never seen him before. I hadn't seen Naomi Harris before. Naomi Harris would go on to be Moneypenny in the Daniel Craig James Bond films, which I truly find to be a waste of my time, but I know a lot of people really like them. I don't know why. I also really like her in the masterpiece with Dwayne Johnson, Rampage. I also really like her in I also like her in Dead Man's Chest and At World's End, which is the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. She plays Calypso.
Yes, she's great in those. And that's actually the first movie I'd ever seen her in. So then when I saw press tour photos and everything and saw her in something else, I was like, damn, she's gorgeous. Like
I know.
Blackened teeth and the makeup she had on, and she was just kind of gross in the Pirates movies and just kind of dirty. She's just dirty, right?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
She's like this living in a swamp, and she's kind of a what's it called?
Kind of a witch doctor.
A witch doctor, thank you. And so then I see her in real life and in press photos and stuff. I was like, holy shit, this woman's gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
nicely done,
definitely.
makeup team.
Right? Yeah. And I always thought when I first saw 28 Days Later, I was like, ooh, man, she's very pretty. I wouldn't mind surviving with her for sure. And even her voice in Dead Man's Chest, when she's asking all of them, like, you willing to go to the ends of the earth? And you're just like, whoa, what is going on? And lest we forget, she was nominated for Moonlight. She played the mother in Moonlight. She was nominated as Best Supporting Actress for that role, which I definitely enjoyed her in.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're not a huge fan of that movie, but she was so good in it.
Yeah, she was very good. Now, one actor was Danny Boyle's original choice for Jim. Very well-known actor. Wonder if you can guess who that might be.
Any hints you want to give me at all?
Oh, no hints at all. Yeah, let's see. Hints. He was in My Father's Day episode.
Ewan McGregor?
Yes, Ewan McGregor was originally Danny Boyle's first choice, but there was a very, very public falling out with Ewan McGregor and Danny Boyle when Danny Boyle was hired to direct The Beach. Leonardo DiCaprio got the role, and Ewan McGregor was originally supposed to be in it. Very unfortunately, they had a falling out because of that. Thank the Lord they reconciled, because Trainspotting 2 would not have been ever conceived as a film if that were still the case.
You broke my heart, Fredo. The betrayal that Ewan McGregor felt, I'm sure.
Oh, I know, definitely. And that's the unfortunate reality of the entertainment business. It's just like, if a studio's getting involved, and mind you, The Beach was Danny Boyle's first true studio picture, you got to get, and nothing against Ewan McGregor, because The Beach came out in 99. Ewan McGregor was still very unknown. He had Shallow Grave, Trainspotting, A Life Less Ordinary, and very few other roles. Star Wars hadn't come out yet, so he was not a household name. So I understand the reasoning behind it, but it still is like one of those things. It's like, fuck, man. Like, could you imagine if Ewan McGregor was in The Beach? But then again...
No.
Yeah, no, right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like The Beach that much. It's not one of my favorite of Danny Boyle's.
It's certainly not a favorite of mine either. But there's just Ewan McGregor can play a kid from the streets, or a kid from a poor family, or what have you, and has that kind of grittiness to him in a lot of ways when he wants to. And the Leonardo DiCaprio's character in The Beach seemed a little bit more privileged, a little bit more naive to the ways of the world, and that worked for The Beach, even though, yeah, you're right, it's not the best movie.
No.
And I'm so glad he was not cast in 28 Days Later either, because I can't picture him, again, being a bike carrier running away but from a bunch of infected people. It just doesn't seem like someone he would be.
Right, no, exactly. So there was, again, reasonings behind it. Apparently, another actor was also considered for Jim, and thank the Lord, this fucking actor was not cast because his career ended with La La Land. Ryan Gosling. Ugh.
I mean, he would have been so young in 2003.
Yeah, way too young, and not that Cillian Murphy isn't a skinny dude, because he is. And that's the other thing that I really liked. Like, Cillian Murphy, he just looked like he looked like an everyman, you know?
Exactly.
Like
Ryan Gosling's too much of a pretty boy.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing against Cillian Murphy. My wife, of course, watching 28 Days Later with me this time around, she goes, he's really scary in this movie, but he's really pretty.
Oh, yeah, he's so super pretty.
He's a good-looking dude. Like, those eyes, my gosh. Just like Ben Stiller and Walter Mitty. I could look into him all night long. Mm-hmm. So anyway, moving on from the casting there a little bit. I'm very happy Naomi Harris was in it. Very happy that Brendan Gleeson was in it. Some of you may recognize this gentleman if you have seen 28 Days Later, or you might know him by name, Christopher Eccleston. He is one of the Doctor Who's from back in the day. He's the bad guy in Gone in 60 Seconds with Nicolas Cage. And he's been around for quite some time. He's in a bunch of movies, and every time he's in a movie, I don't necessarily like the movie, but I like him.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But I love him in 28 Days Later. He is a very, very relatable character. His mindset is, well, it's kind of a spoiler, so I can't really say. So if you haven't seen 28 Days Later and you don't know any of these other actors, which by now I'm sure you do, but if you only know Christopher Eccleston, definitely check it out for his performance in this, because he's fucking great in this movie. And there's so much tension building up with his character in this movie that every time he's on screen, I just kind of tense up, because I'm like, you fucking asshole. He's so good and so convincing in this movie. And that just kind of shows you also with Danny Boyle. Like, at this time, this is his 5th film. He's worked with so many different actors. He worked with Leonardo DiCaprio, for crying out loud. The hospital that Jim wakes up in, actually, this is one of the parts of the production that really makes me happy. That hospital is a day hospital, only open during Monday through Friday. So on the weekends, that hospital rents out to TV shows and movies. And the budget that is set aside for that location goes straight to the hospital, into the hospital's trust fund. So it's all going to the hospital to better, humanity per se.
And real patients. That's awesome.
And definitely, yeah, for the real patients, which I really thought was really fucking cool. This is one of the first mainstream films to be shot entirely on digital format, which is also pretty awesome. It's amazing that it became mainstream, and just like Danny Boyle wanted, he wanted the film to be discovered, and it really fucking was. It was absolutely discovered by the masses, especially in the United States. It exploded in the U.S., so much so that Stephen King has raved about this movie as one of his favorite horror films of all time.
Nice.
He bought out an entire day's worth of showings in New York City because he loved the movie so much.
Awesome.
I think it's so badass. There's a tunnel sequence in this movie that...
Oh,
thank you. Yes.
So stressful.
So fucking stressful. That was a brand new extension of the tunnels that they had throughout London, and they rented it out for 2 days to get all of that stuff that they shot in the tunnel done. And if you think about it, that's impressive. I mean, I would have thought that would have taken a lot longer than that.
Especially given the time to set up with all of the props they had.
Very much so, yeah.
Just setting up the sets should have taken 2 days.
Exactly. Oh yeah, production design was they all had their asses on fire. Like, they were just moving
the
like
whole time.
Fucking crazy.
All I can do is picture the entire crew, with the 8 to 10 cameras just running through the streets of London, kind of like, remember that scene in The Girl Next Door that we talked about where they're running through the halls of the high school trying to film it? That's all I can picture.
Absolutely. Oh no, it makes total sense. So this was a 9-week shoot, which is 2 months plus a week, which is pretty impressive considering the practicality of everything in this movie. Very, very little CGI. And another cool thing about this movie that I really like is when Hannah and Frank are introduced into this film, that building is actually used in Trainspotting.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes. I thought that was really cool.
That father-daughter addition into the movie was very good and definitely helped move the plot along perfectly. It was very
Absolutely.
seamless how this movie unfolds. You are just following them, and you are just... I love this movie because it's scary, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's hordes of mindless, unreasonable people in it, but I love it because it's just tension. It's just stressful. You're just anxious. It's so great to follow these characters along. Oh my God, what's going to happen next? Oh my God, is something going to jump out at you? Like, it's so good. This is exactly the type of horror/scary movie that I do enjoy. I know I've said this before, but like, it's not, because it's not a slasher movie. It's human tension. I loved it.
Yes, I'm so glad that you did, because I really was worried watching it this time around. I was like, I don't know.
No, it was great.
I've been that way with most of the horrors that I've picked, especially, and a lot of my picks throughout our tenure so far. I've just been worried what you're going to think. Granted, so far you've only not liked one, so that's a pretty good percentage, I think.
Yeah, you're doing great. And, there are some movies, and same with you, that maybe one of us enjoys more. I mentioned a couple episodes ago for a movie, I was like, it was good. I'm never going to watch it again, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah, definitely. No, and that's the other thing, too, about 28 Days Later for me is I can watch this all the time. And granted, I don't. It's not one that I don't like to feel anxious all the time, but every now and then when I want to have a good scare and definitely believability in a horror movie, which does happen. There's definitely believability in a lot of horror movies, but there's something about this one that really just takes the cake for me. This is my favorite horror film that I've ever seen. Every time I watch it, it takes on a bit of a different meaning for me. Certain films do that for everybody, and especially recently that we've gone through the COVID-19 virus, it's really just like, fuck,
Yeah.
there's so much more believability and empathy for the people in this movie. And like you said, the introduction of Frank and Hannah is very seamless. I love how they're introduced.
On my end, I will absolutely watch this movie again because I feel like I will catch things I didn't the first time around.
Oh, that's for sure, yes. So this movie is on the 1001 movies to see before you die list, which absolutely 100% should be. And now, going into the budget for 28 Days Later, it took 9 weeks to shoot this movie. The budget was $8 million. So if you think about it, that's about $1 million a week.
That makes sense. I mean, I certainly would have guessed less than $10 million budget.
100%, absolutely, yeah. So the U.S. Open received $10 million. In the opening weekend of the movie.
The opening weekend?
Yeah, opening weekend was $10 million.
Okay.
The U.S. gross was $45 million.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the worldwide gross for 28 Days Later, my favorite horror film directed by Danny Boyle, written by Alex Garland, $84.6 million world fucking wide. Not only is this, it's a UK film, it's great. Oh, the US really liked it. The fucking world loved it.
Nice.
And it is on so many top 10 zombie horror lists, and it's coming in at number 1 or number 1, 2, or 3. Mm-hmm. So it is a very highly regarded piece of horror cinema, and that's one thing that's just like blows my mind. There's so much respect for this film, and that's another reason why I love it, because anybody, and I'm not even just fucking around, anybody that I've showed this film to has walked away loving it.
Yeah.
And it just makes me feel so warm inside that you loved it too.
Yes, I absolutely did. I think that it is... Hereditary is a masterpiece. Don't get me wrong. I love that movie for what it is. But it's not a movie I could see again. This might be my favorite movie of the month that you picked.
Oh, awesome.
It was fucking great.
I love to hear it. So great. That makes me happy, wiping away a happy tear right now.
Nice.
So the highest grossing film of 2003 we have discussed in our Father's Day episode, of which apparently I completely forgot about. But it was number 1 of that year was Finding Nemo. Number 2 was Curse of the Black Pearl, Pirates of the Caribbean. Number 3 was Matrix Reloaded. Number 10 was Bad Boys 2. And number 65, highest grossing film of 2003 is 28 Days Later. It made the top 100.
I know how much you love that, so I'm glad it did.
I do, yes. Very, very good news for me and for everybody involved. And again, this movie is now exactly 20 years old because it came out in 2002 in the UK, and it holds up just fan-fucking-tastically.
Oh, yes. Because the way it's filmed, and it's an intentional decision to have that style of it, it could absolutely have come out this year, and you would believe it. Yeah.
100%. Yes. So that's 28 Days Later, everybody, written by Alex Garland, directed by Danny Boyle. Again, my most favorite horror film. V, I'm so glad you liked it. And that will really wrap us up for the month of October here at Movies You Missed on episode 28. I'm curious if you might watch Alien with your grandmother.
I wouldn't because it's sci-fi, but I have seen Alien with my father. He introduced this movie to me. My sister and I have seen many of the movies in the Alien series. I absolutely would recommend this to any adult. It's very consumable because it's not a hard sci-fi movie. It's a very approachable sci-fi movie and also a very approachable horror movie. So I think it's a really good introduction or just option for people who don't normally like those genres because it's such a masterpiece and very story and character driven.
Awesome. Good deal.
And would you watch 28 Days Later with your grandma?
Absolutely.
I watched it with my father.
Yes. Oh, and actually, since you watched it with your father, I put it on for my dad one time several years ago. Yes. We only made it about 22 minutes into the movie before my dad got up and said, "That's enough."
Mm-hmm. It is it's bloody, but only semi-gory. And people who've seen it will know what I mean by that. And, as John mentioned, there is a trigger warning that the first, I would say, 3 to 4 minutes of this movie are in an animal testing facility. And that, for me, was a bit difficult to watch. My father and I both were like, "Aw."
Yeah.
There is one shot of male frontal nudity. But other than that, I mean, you could watch it with anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
And where could you watch 28 Days Later, John?
28 Days Later is currently streaming on HBO Max, as is 28 Weeks Later, the sequel.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, or you can watch your DVD or Blu-ray copy, of which I have both. My wife is still on me about getting rid of my DVD copy, but I probably won't never do that.
Yeah, I believe that wholeheartedly. And you can watch Alien on Stars if you have a subscription. Otherwise, you can rent both of these movies on most streaming services.
Yes. I watched it on Stars, and I was glad to.
Nice. I am certainly in the mood to watch the sequels to these movies at some point this week.
Absolutely, yeah. I will definitely be watching Aliens and 28 Weeks Later within the next 3 or 4 days.
So that wraps up our very first horror-themed month at Movies You Missed podcast. Thank you so much for joining us and following us along as we go through these movies. I certainly enjoyed this month, even though it is my least favorite genre. Thank you so much for introducing me to so many great films.
Oh, I'm so glad that you liked all of them. I was really worried about every one of them, except for Frankenstein. I figured you would like Frankenstein because you appreciate, the time it came out. But especially with Hereditary and 28 Days Later, I was a bit worried for sure.
Well, no need. They were fantastic.
I'm so glad to hear it. So yeah, thank you also for your picks. You chose some really great ones, and I can't wait to do another themed month with you.
Yes, and that is coming up, listeners, so stay tuned for that. We are excited for our next themed month that is coming up soon.
I think they might have an idea.
Yeah, it's obvious.
It is.
But
it's the end of the year.
But until then, we are really excited to have a bit of a palate cleanser next week.
Oh, yes.
We are going animated, people.
Yeah, we are. Animation full swing.
Yes. And again, I just love that we bounce around genres to keep it all fresh for everyone.
Me too.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. You can follow us throughout the week at Movies You Miss Pod on all of your favorite social media apps. And please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast. It really helps. And we always appreciate receiving new reviews. We text each other immediately. It's very fun.
Yes, we do indeed. Thank you guys again for joining us for the month of October. Hopefully we didn't scare the pants off of you too badly. I was very much enjoying all of this, and I'm going to be signing off right now and watching more horror movies throughout the end of the month, so I'm very excited for that. But as we always do like to close out here at Movies You Miss podcast, film is a form of art, and in all art, every opinion is valid, except if you think
the horror genre is only full of slasher movies.
Hey! Nice. We have definitely proven that false indeed. Cheers, everybody.
Bye-bye.